specifically for people who are moving in, out of mom and dad's house, you have, I assume, very little to move in with. Like, is that a thing? You have a housewarming party and you set up a registry where people will buy a little.
No, it's not a baby shower. Like,
why not? I would if
I had. Are you
had.
Serious?
Sure.
You're going to have a registry? So you're going to have people over and you're going to have a registry? I wouldn't go. Here's a better idea. You're a first-time homeowner. Let's say you need a toaster. Ask family and friends.
Or set up a registry.
No, you're asking for things that are used, not go to the store and buy me a new, I'm going to have you over for pizza and wings to see my new house. By the way, can you go to the bay and pick me up a new set of cutlery?
No, it's a party. You make an event of it. You spend some money on food. You make an event of it.
Sure. So the amount of money you're going to spend on your party is the amount of money you could have just taken and gone and buy the shit yourself.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is episode 159 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. I'm here with Ariel. Welcome, Ariel. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Good. Woke up with a bit of a headache today. It was my anniversary yesterday. Drank a bottle of wine. I think maybe I didn't drink enough water following up that bottle.
Happy anniversary. 10 years?
Thanks. 9.
9 years.
9. Yeah. 10 years, hopefully, we'll, assuming things are back to a more familiar state of normal as it relates to COVID and such. Well, I think it would be nice to get away for a trip for that one.
What do you typically buy your spouse on a 10-year anniversary? Is that silver? Is it gold? Or is it?
I think 10. I mean, I don't really follow that stuff, but I think 10 is a diamond.
Is it diamond?
I think so. I mean, it should be a big one for 10. Are you looking it up?
I am. So if you were to go, if you guys were to go somewhere,
vacation, I think. Yeah.
So if it's a vacation, what would the vacation be?
Oh, I don't know. And the big dilemma right now with vacations is one, we haven't really taken one in.
Oh well, this is easy.
8 years.
A 10th wedding anniversary gift is traditionally made of tin or aluminum.
Oh, damn. Okay. Maybe I will do it. Yeah. Well, I think the big thing for us with deciding on a vacation is not even so much about where, but whether the kids are joining us. I think it would be nice to get away with them. So if we don't go somewhere before then with them, you're going to
go. Yeah, you must take a vacation then before that. You can't go on your 10th anniversary with the kids.
Well, sure you can. But yeah, ideally we're able to get away with them beforehand. It'd be nice. I know that, well, McKenna's never really been to a beach or anything like that. Not an ocean anyways.
For your 10th year anniversary vacation, would you go somewhere warm or would you go like more of a tourist kind of trip, like somewhere in Europe or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, right now I'm in need of a beach. Yeah. Somewhere you can sit down and do nothing. So at this point, I would say that would be my.
So like an all-inclusive.
Yeah, but if we did that beforehand with the kids and got that out of my system, then the other option appeals to me more generally.
Right.
So like, maybe an Italy trip or something fun like that.
That would be good.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to the episode 159 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. First time home owner tips.
Right. Last week we covered, the topic of first time buyers. And this week we follow the timeline to first time owners. And we're talking suggestions and tips on things they should consider. And I'll let you get started.
So obviously the concept here is we just kind of like what you said, we talked about kind of tips and the process of buying your first place. But think about the first time homeowner. Think about when you purchased your first home. there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily know, right? Either you were renting or you live with mom and dad, family, whatever. And now you're moving into your own place that you own. You've got your tax bills, you've got your hydro, all these bills coming in all of a sudden. So, when I broached this topic with you and you asked me, okay, what are we talking about? And I started talking about budget and costs for the year. You said to me, what? You said, oh, well, that should be thought of in
Yes.
the buying process.
Yes. Budgeting, figuring out how much you can afford, knowing what the carrying costs are going to be.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know.
Well, hopefully they're watching this before they buy, and then they know.
Well, that's the point of doing the podcast. So we got to talk a little bit about budgets and what to be expected in terms of cost of home ownership. And I also like to talk when we have first time home buyers and I visit them after, let's say they've been in there for a year and I stop by for a coffee or a beer or something. And they're always asking me, should I replace this? Should I reno this? Should I do that? So I think, for first time home buyers, they have a lot of those questions. And they're wondering, if I do spend money on the home, where is the best place to spend the money? What's going to give me a better return on that investment? So we can chat a little bit about that. And I think you might debate me on this next point, but this was what got the hamster wheel for me spinning. Is when I owned my first home, I was single. I was living in the home by myself. I bought it by myself. It's a 1,300 square foot townhome, 3-story townhome. And I used to have Sundays off. And every Sunday or every other Sunday, I would spend it cleaning the house. I worked 6 days a week, had 1 day off, and at least 2 of those 4 days in the month, I would spend giving the house a good cleaning. Floors, dusting, baseboards, bathrooms, wipe down the kitchen a little bit, wipe down your appliances, all that stuff. It would take me a good, 4 or 5 hours, right? And that's not a big home, 1,300 square feet, but you do the floors, you do the stairs. Stairs are a pain in the ass. Nobody likes to, especially those who are carpeted. So I was vacuuming the stairs.
Well, that house you had 2 sets of stairs.
Right. It's a 3-story townhome.
I suppose all houses do if they have a finished basement too. But yeah, right. Lots of stairs in those houses. And
I didn't enjoy it. And, I'm a relatively, especially then, I was a relatively clean person. You could go into my home at any time and it was pretty clean. I wasn't there a lot, obviously, with working so much, but I was cleaning it, pretty regular basis. And I thought to myself, what I know now, what would I have changed as a first-time home owner? And the first thing that came to mind is that I would have hired a professional cleaning company to come in and do the cleaning for me. And of course, I knew you're going to smirk and you have something to say about that. But, here's the thing.
You finish.
If you have limited time, like time is very valuable and, you can't replace that. Why do you want to spend your time? Like I remember being at home, having to clean my house on a beautiful summer day. You don't think I'd rather be out golfing or, sitting on a patio or sitting on my front deck reading a book versus cleaning my toilets and floors and doing all that stuff. Yeah. So I think, you hire a professional cleaning company, sometimes you can find people that, work for cash and whatever. I always caution that because they're probably not insured. Um, but whoever you choose, have somebody come in and clean. They have a process like the cleaners that we use now in our day-to-day business and even at home. They have a process, right?
What's the concern with the insurance aspect? Just out of curiosity.
I've heard stories. I don't know, just peace of mind that whoever's coming into my home has insurance. So if they fall down the stairs and break their leg, they have their own coverage as well. And they're not just, they can still potentially go after the homeowner, but good luck. I like dealing with professional companies, give me a registered business name, an invoice. I don't care if I'm paying the HST. I prefer to have a proper invoice, charge me the tax. You got insurance, you're licensed, you're bonded, whatever. That's the way I do things, right? So everybody has their preference. They might want to hire, I know there's a lot of people that will clean homes and they just show up, you pay them cash and go.
I would guess the vast majority, maybe not the vast majority, but I would think the majority of people out there cleaning homes are not insured.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't have any statistics to back that up. I would probably agree with you.
Just
the other thing is,
knowing
I have valuables, like not too many, but I have valuables. If I don't know that person, I'd rather hire a company that if something goes wrong, I can leave them a shit Google review as an example and it affects their business. If I hire Joe Smith for $20 cash to come and clean my house and Joe Smith, whatever, $20 an hour, and slips down the stairs and pockets, my favorite watch on the way. And then, can't find that person after, or you can't, you can't ding them at all really. So I don't know. I just prefer it that way. That's my own personal preference. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, speaking to, being, for first time homeowner tips and taking into consideration who many of those people are in most of them in the earlier stages of their career and their life. And, finances are probably quite a bit more on the tight side. I would assume, anyways, that's probably the case in most instances that that is an unnecessary expense. There's going to be people out there that might have the mindset of, well, while I'll hire someone to do it so that I can do my side hustle, and then that's a good thing. But I would say again, that's not the majority of people. I would say the majority of people, working a 9-to-5 job, getting paid hourly or salary, and they've got a fixed amount of income to work with. I would say that's a task that most people are going to be doing on their own. So, and there's ways to make it.
I won't disagree that some people will not be able to afford. Is that what you're saying? They're not going to be able to afford it or can't afford it or don't want to afford it or whatever.
Yeah. Whether or not they see the value in it. Yeah.
Well, this is the wake up call. See the value in it. And if you can't get it done every 2 weeks or every week or every month or whatever, at least schedule once in a while, every couple of months, every quarter, get the company in there to do a deep clean. Because from what I find, a lot of first time homeowners don't realize, baseboards need to be wiped down and dusted fairly regularly. The bathrooms need a good thorough scrubbing all the tiles, the
Yeah,
baseboards.
but that's stuff they can do, and you schedule it into your routine. So you do maybe even
people
do
don't.
like,
People don't. Let's face it.
well,
People don't.
that's my suggestion for the tip is book that into your not daily, but book it into your weekly routine. So maybe one day you do all the bathrooms, or
Sure,
one day you split it up one floor per day.
That's like saying you should lose 30 pounds. Just schedule it into your day. Get on that trip. If I could pay somebody to magically make 30 pounds disappear, I'd rather pay somebody to magically make it disappear.
You're talking to somebody who can afford it, or you are somebody who can afford it. So I would say in most cases, people cannot.
Okay. Well, that's where you have to understand where your money goes and decide what is more important to you. Like having somebody clean your home is saving you a shit ton of time. And a lot of who likes to clean their home? If by all means, if you're just one of those people that like cleaning your home, like I have my moments, sometimes I'll just go on a cleaning spree, throw on a podcast, whatever, wipe things down, vacuum, dust, do all that stuff. But generally speaking, I'd rather have somebody take care of all that so I can spend more time with the family, go out golfing, whatever. And, I don't agree with the fact that people can't afford it. You just got to think about that. That's something to think about, especially when you're buying. Like if your budget is $1 million to buy a home, maybe your budget should be 950,000 because you want to hire a cleaner, or you want to hire a dog walker, or you want to upgrade the floors. Like these are all the things you need to take into consideration when buying. But as a first-time home owner, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I think a lot of people either don't know, don't think about it, don't take it seriously, and people don't have time. And that time is spent better elsewhere. Like you mentioned, side hustles. Right?
Yeah, for the small group of people that might do that, then I would say that, if you can.
I'm going to stop you right there in your tracks, because I would say in the next 5 to 10 years, the first-time home buyers
I know what you're going to say.
The demographic of those people are changing dramatically, and I think we're going to start seeing younger buyers again because they're making money with side hustles. So I think we're going to see a lot of people with more, and those that have side hustles oftentimes have more expendable budgets and income, and generally like things being done for them, an easier life, so to speak.
Yeah.
And having a cleaner gives you all of those things. And it's not expensive.
Okay, so let's just premise it this way. Well, it depends on, it can be. It can cost, $150 each time on average, maybe $200 a pop. Depending on if you're hiring just an independent person versus a company, whatever.
I know people that easily spend $200 a month at Starbucks.
Right. So it's a matter of people figuring out where they see their more value in their time and money.
I know people spending $100 a month on cable.
But there's a line at some point you have to decide at what point it's not feasible anymore, because then you have also the outside. If you have a lawn, well, there's gardening, there's lawn work, there's all these things that require some degree of work. I mean, I've been organizing my garage and stuff like that. I could hire someone to do that. So it's a matter of, you can hire someone to do everything. Really, you can have a maid, you can have a chef, you can, these are all just tasks and responsibilities.
My point with cleaning is that you are upkeeping the home. It's a maintenance thing more than anything. But you're getting enjoyment out of it, and you're saving time, putting up some whatever shelves in your garage is really not going to make a difference on the resale value of your home. having a clean home that's been well maintained.
I would differ. I would beg to differ. If you put up have a nice organized garage, of course that would add value.
Okay. So you have a nice organized garage, but the inside is dirty and smelly, and baseboards are caked on with dirt and grime. And
if somebody was
kitchen cabinets have oil splatter all over them.
Well, that's just, that shouldn't happen, really. But
it does.
So kitchen and bathrooms, those are areas where for sure cleaning on a regular basis can have a long-term effect. Bathrooms, we see it all the time. I've been in houses that were 2 years old that had mold growing in the shower because they'd never cleaned it. And I have a 10-year-old house was not a spot of mold because we maintain the house. So, those efforts can go a long way.
So those people that were there for 2 years and had mold growing in the shower or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the types of people that don't have the time or don't have the patience, the energy, don't want to put the effort in.
Those people don't have the money either.
How do you know?
Well, because I think the people I would assume that the people that have,
I know a lot of people
good
that
head
have
on their
money,
shoulders. Yeah.
I know having good head on your shoulders and wanting to clean your home are
you didn't let me finish.
Different things.
Generally speaking, if people have their shit together, I would think that they're better organized in all different aspects of their life.
I don't agree with that. I know a lot of people, especially men that are single, that don't have the time, effort, or energy or patience to do good, thorough, deep cleaning of the home. And even though I was just going back to my own experience as an individual, as a first-time homeowner, and my home was clean. But in retrospect, I would have hired cleaners. And I couldn't really afford it at that time because I was on a tighter budget. But I would have found the money to do it. I would have eaten out less. By the way, if you go onto our Instagram account and click on the link in our bio, so go to @Kormendy Trott on Instagram, click on the link in our bio. It'll take you to our link tree. In the link tree, there is a link to our money savings tip guide. Download that guide. It's a free guide. Lots of ways to save money so that you can pay for cleaners. There you go.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, it's good for them to know there's somebody that can do everything in their house. It's a matter of figuring out what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and what.
How about this? If you've lived in the home, try it for 6 months. Okay, first-time homeowners, try it for 6 months. If you find yourself cleaning the home, maintaining it well, doing that deep clean every once in a while to make sure the baseboards are nice and clean, all of your tiles, your grout, your caulking, you're wiping down all the window sills and your mirrors, and you're doing that type of cleaning on a regular basis, then good for you. I applaud you. Save the money on cleaners and throw on some Bob Marley and your maid outfit and go nuts. If after 6 months you're finding that you hate it and you don't do a good job at it, and there are definitely areas of the home that are being neglected, whatever it is, baseboards, washrooms, kitchens, floors, etc., get a cleaning company. Try it once and see if you like it. See if you find it's worthwhile. That $150, you might think, ooh, that's a big expense, but just like splurging on a vacation or buying a sexy pair of shoes or a premium vehicle, there are certain things in life that you splurge on. And so if you want to consider that a splurge, it's one of those things for first-time homeowners I think they don't think about that they should splurge on. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Yes, I agree. All right. The one thing I think a lot of people don't consider that falls within your budgeting concept or idea is specifically for people who are moving in, out of mom and dad's house. Not so much the case if you're coming out of a rental, but you have I assume very little to move in with, like forks, knives, spoons, slotted spoon, potato masher, spatula. Like there are like, I could give you a list of 1,000 items that you probably don't have, that you'll need as you go, over the course of a year.
It's a great point.
In a house. So I don't remember what I did. I mean, housewarming parties, is that a thing? You have a housewarming party and you set up a registry where people will buy a little.
No, it's not a baby shower. Like,
why not? I would
if I had. Are you serious?
Sure. If for first house, I'm talking, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't do baby showers for the second, third.
So you're going to have people over and you're going to have a registry? I wouldn't go.
Why not?
I'll bring you a nice bottle of wine or something, or I'll.
Well, save your money, go to my registry and spend that $20 to $50 on, a couple wine glasses.
Here's a better idea. Okay. You're a first-time homeowner, unless you're really picky, and you shouldn't be. You should save as much money as you can with those kind of things. So let's say you need a, let's say you need a toaster.
Yeah.
Ask family and friends. Hop
or set
on
up
Facebook.
A registry.
No, you're asking for things that are used, not go to the store and buy me a new, I'm going to have you over for pizza and wings to see my new house. By the way, can you go to the bay and pick me up a new set of cutlery? Like, come on.
No, it's a party. You make an event of it. You spend some money on food. You make an event of it.
Sure. So the amount of money you're going to spend on your party is the amount of money you could have just taken and gone and buy the shit yourself.
I don't know. I'm going to look into this. Okay. I mean, it seems like it makes sense.
You do that.
And if I had a close friend that bought their first house, I would bring a new toaster. I wouldn't hesitate to buy them a toaster.
If there are any realtors, I know the realtors on our team often listen to the podcast. If there are any realtors listening, that would be a great initiative for a realtor to take on, to offer first-time homeowners, first-time home buyers, to say, hey, I'll coordinate a kind of a housewarming party for you, and I'll set up the registry and send it out to everybody that you want to invite, and I'll send out the invites for you. That would be a great initiative. So now you're down with the registry?
I'm just trying to understand this.
No.
Sort of. You're somewhat interested in it. So
no, I think first-time homeowners should go to the Restore or go to the Salvation Army, and you take $50 or whatever you need to buy whatever you need from there, but you can find everything at the Salvation Army for cheap. Oftentimes they're very good because they keep the good stuff to sell. They're in good condition, they're clean, they work. That's all you need. Well, and if you want to treat yourself to something, like I've walked into first-time homeowners' homes and they've got like a Smeg toaster, like a $200 toaster. So some people want to treat themselves. They buy the 75-inch TV and the Smeg toaster and the Dyson vacuum, and then they realize, oh shit, our tax bill just came in for the quarter and it's $1,000. Gotta think about those things.
Yeah, I agree.
Even now, we have IKEA cutlery at home.
Yeah, me too. I've had it for a decade.
Yeah.
I think every now and then it would be nice to have newer, nicer stuff, but it serves a purpose and it works, when you're in a position where it's like, it's not a big deal anymore, then splurge. But in the meantime, conserve your finances. There was a post on a local Facebook page recently where somebody, it was on the Dads of Milton page, a dad's TV broke. So he sent out a message to the group saying, hey, my TV broke. Does anyone have anything just laying around that they're not using or they're going to throw out or whatever? I think messages like that are effective too. Like go to a local page and say, hey, I just bought my first house. I've got like literally nothing in it. If anyone has anything from a spoon to a toaster, let me know.
Exactly.
I guarantee there's people out there that will
100%
provide. 100%.
Well, even on your own Facebook page, most people have hundreds of quote unquote friends, or thousands if you're really popular, or you just like to have people on there for having people on there. But, if you've got a couple hundred friends even on your Facebook page and you just post something, hey, just bought our first house, so happy. Whatever.
Maybe that's the housewarming party. It's like, hey, I'm having a housewarming party. If you could bring anything that you're not using that I might be able to use in my house, and you'll get
now that's a better idea.
Well, is it? Because then you end up with 100 toasters. Well, then you could sell them, I suppose.
Then you've got a side hustle, right?
Yeah.
And now you can sell some of those toasters to pay for those cleaners.
Yeah, that's funny. One of the first things that people should do that we do for our clients when they buy is change the locks, but not just the locks, resetting any keypads, resetting the garage door opener so it disconnects any previous remotes or cars that were connected to it. And I want you to tell your story without obviously naming any names, but you've got a funny story about a client that went back into their old house, and it confirms why it's important to do this stuff.
Yeah. So the property closed, we'll say I think it was on a Tuesday. And I get a message from the buyers. We listed the property, sold it successfully. No problem. Get a message from the buyer's agent saying, hey, everything went well with the closing, but they, not very nice of them or something like that. They left a big, ugly couch in the basement and the buyers don't want it. Can you tell them to come and pick it up? And I said, okay, sorry about that. Let me see what I can coordinate. When will the new homeowners be at the property? He said, I don't know. Let me get back to you. So in the meanwhile, I messaged our sellers. They'd already moved out, right? Everything's gone. Keys, the home closed, keys exchanged. So I messaged the seller and I said, hey, everything went well with the closing. Congrats. You left the home nice and clean. They're appreciative of that because they were, and they did leave the house nice and clean. But I understand you left a big, ugly couch in the basement. And, they actually forgot because they didn't really use their basement. And they had been moving out in stages because they had a lot of stuff, 4 kids, so lots going on. And they had a couple of trips back to the home to take the final stuff out. And in that process, they just forgot the couch. At least that's what they said. And I believe them. I said, okay, well, I told them I would speak to you. Let me see when they'll be available and we'll see what we can coordinate. They did say, okay, no problem. I'm really sorry. We'll go back and we'll get the couch.
Right.
Well, I get a call at, I don't know what time, late at night, that the new homeowner, the buyer, was livid. So the agent called me and he said, Ariel, what the hell's going on? My buyers, my clients are absolutely distraught and very upset. They came to the house at like 9:30 p.m. and the old owner, your client, was walking out of the house. I said, what? So what happened was the previous owner went back in. This is the day after closing, I believe. Went back into the house. They still had a key, which they shouldn't have because all keys should have been transferred at closing, and went in and got the couch.
That's crazy. It's funny because it probably didn't even faze them. Like, imagine they were just like, oh, okay, I'll go get it. So they went there. Oh, here's a key. Right. I'll go in. So 100%. Used to
that's
going
exactly
in and
what
out
happened.
of the house. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, when you have 4 kids and, you're running a family and in that transition and lots going on and busy life and work and all that stuff, you're not really thinking about it. You're like, oh shit, I forgot the couch. Let me go and get it. They knew nobody was living in there yet because they knew they were moving in on the weekend. So the house was vacant. But technically that, it's break and enter, right? So
yeah. Well, unfortunately in this scenario, it was, all with good intentions, nothing bad came of it. But the point of the matter is there's probably spare keys lingering around somewhere.
100%.
Right. And if for some reason somebody had ill intentions, maybe they didn't like how the transaction kind of went through and they felt like, I don't know, who knows, whatever the story could be. Maybe they went in to vandalize the house afterwards and were hoping not to get caught, or, who knows.
Well, over the years, like if you live in the home for an extended period of time, like more than, a few months or a couple of years, like if you're there for 5 to 10 years, which most homeowners are in that range, does your neighbor have a key?
Right. I just found a bunch of keys. I think one of them's for your old lock.
Good thing I changed my locks.
Yeah.
Does your cleaner have a key? Does whoever?
That's right.
Does your
because
realtor,
after this, everybody will have a cleaner.
Does your realtor have a key? Like who has keys, right?
Yeah.
The other thing, you mentioned garage door openers. How many times you as a realtor have got a message from a buyer? They take possession of the home and they're like, oh, what's the garage code? And I'm like, why does that matter? Get your ladder, push the reset button, hold down that reset button on the garage thing, or it's so simple.
You almost shouldn't provide it to them, because then I'd say the majority of times they would just never get around to doing it.
Right. Makes them lazy and they keep the same code.
Yeah.
They're like,
they have intentions of doing
now.
It. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good poll. We should put that as an Instagram poll or something.
Well, we should just, pick half a dozen or a dozen houses that we've had buyers move into this year. See if we can find out what the code was from the previous owner. Go and try it.
Well, why don't we just ask them, have you changed your code since you moved in? That might be an easier way.
That would work too. Mine was more dramatic. It was like maybe video worthy. We could make a video.
That would be a funny video though. Us just at the front of their garage entering the code to see if it opens and waiting for them to pop out to see what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, it kind of goes along the lines of, remember we said we were going to slip a clause into all of our schedules that said, we had rights to use their pool or something on a certain day of every year. And we would just show up in our bathing suit because people are so oblivious and don't read those things.
We that would actually be a really good clause for us to include, because we've got a lot of homes now that have pools and neither of us have a pool. How cool would that be?
Yeah. Did you know there's a company now that does it's like Uber, but for pools?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been around for a little while now.
I just heard of it this year.
One of the, Rick DiLorenzo, one of the counselors in town, he subscribed, he started his own kind of service like that and started by using his own pool. And he was booked up pretty well this summer, like making good money. I don't know if I would, first of all, if I was the homeowner, I would never rent my pool out to a bunch of strangers to come and use it. Number one. Number two, as somebody renting it, I don't know how comfortable I'd be renting somebody else's pool. Imagine like half of the time. I think
it's no different than it's the same as an Airbnb concept, right? So you try to filter through people.
You rent this pool.
Yeah.
And the homeowners are home.
Okay.
You feel comfortable swimming in their pool while they're at home?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole.
I don't know. You got
these people don't.
12-year-old Billy on the second floor peeping down, looking at your wife.
Fine. 12-year-old Billy can do that.
I don't know how comfortable.
You got to think these are people that don't have pools, obviously, right? So it's like it's not ideal. I mean, in an ideal world, I'm sure they'd have their own pool, but they don't. So this is the next best option. Certainly better than a public pool. fucking public pools are disgusting. So
Well, that becomes kind of a public pool, doesn't it? If the public is using it.
it's like an executive level of a public pool. It's like you get exclusive use. Like it would be different if you could rent out the public pool, which you can, but probably doesn't make sense to for a family. But if you could, that would be different versus being there when there's 100 people that you don't know.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't go to public pools.
No.
I wouldn't. Natalie invited me to go to making waves there when she had the boys in swimming lessons.
Yeah. I went to the public pool for that. And but I went when it was like parent and taught. So it's like, and it was during the week. So there's like hardly anybody there.
All right, let's stay focused here on first-time homeowner tips. Do you have anything else that I have one last thing, but is there anything else that you want to interject with? We talked a little bit about cleaning and saving.
No, I mean, that was really just it for me in terms of first things people should do. I mean, one thing we're big advocates of that we've talked about in the past, which may be your last thing, I don't know, but it was, planting a tree or something, because 5 years from now, which happens very quickly. I mean, our trees we planted roughly 4 or 5 years ago, I don't remember, and they're as tall as our house now, right? And they started off maybe 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall max, and now they're 20. So, plant a tree or two, kind of, even if you don't have to do all the landscaping, but maybe get a general idea for what you would do if you do something in the future, and plant it in a space that would be conducive to accommodating that. Don't just stick it in the backyard in the middle of the space. And then, before you know it, be a few years old and providing, and looks great. It completely changes the atmosphere in the backyard when you're back there. It's really nice. So plant a tree.
Yeah, it's a great tip. My final tip is, again, something that I think first-time homeowners don't take into consideration until it's too late or much further down the road. Something like planting a tree lines up with this. It's a good segue into my tip, and that's to budget every year on improvements, renovations, whatever, but improving the home. And actually spend that money on improving your home on a regular basis. So, and do it to your budget. So I'm not talking about replace the entire kitchen, but maybe you're replacing the door hardware, or maybe you're improving the lighting by replacing a light fixture every once in a while, or the door handles. Like, pick certain things and spread it out, maybe quarterly. But you need to budget for that. Nobody budgets for that, right? They all say, okay, now we're going to sell the house, and the realtor told me I need to change my door handles, I need to change my light fixtures, the hardware on the kitchen cabinets, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's $2,500 to $5,000. I can't afford that. So we're just going to sell it as is.
Right. Well, and a lot of people who do it at that point, if they do it at that point, they're like, wow, I love my house again. I should have
done it.
Right.
They all say, why didn't we do this sooner? We knew we could have or should have, but why didn't we do it sooner? So in your, cost planning, your budgeting, in your finances, always be putting money into your home. It's your biggest investment. And that is going to help not only maintain the value of your investment, but also going to help improve the investment, the return on that investment, assuming you pick the right things. Whether it's paint, caulking, new fixtures, new faucets, new hardware, new lighting, improving your landscaping, adding the garage shelving or what have you that you commented on,
or your backdrop there is a good example. Little things like a barn board wall, or even a faux barn board wall, even wallpapered barn board wall. Things
right now,
like that are
I'm sitting in the KT studio on Main Street in Milton, 75 Main Street East. When we rented, this is a space that we rent. It was primarily our studio and has become a quasi studio sales and admin office. We're just finally now starting getting back to having more than one person in it at a time. And when we took possession of this 4.5 years ago, this place was a dump. You know, you add something like
to the point where the agent who had listed, we were there to see another unit in the building. The agent said, "Oh, you're not going to like that one."
Right.
He was really downplaying how he thought it was terrible. He's like, "No, don't even look at it."
Which is why we got a great deal on it.
Yeah.
And then because we got a great deal on it, we did take some money and do some upgrades. This was one of them. And it really makes a nice impact in this. This is in the boardroom, so it makes a nice impact. Today, it makes a nice backdrop for my podcast. So you do things. And having said that, so we spent the money on some of these additions and renovations in our office. We kept our $20 coffee maker that was pissing us off, that produced really shit coffee for at least the next year before we finally upgraded and got a really good coffee maker, because you had to budget, right? There was only so much money that you could spend. So, you take those things and you spread it out, and you put the high priority ones at the top, the lower priority ones at the bottom. But you have to schedule it in. First-time home buyers, they don't do that on a regular, or first-time homeowners don't do it on a regular basis. So aside from having cleaners go in and do a professional cleaning, my biggest tip for most first-time homeowners is always be spending money on improving your home. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. You mentioned yesterday or the day before that you picked up some door pulls on Amazon for cheap. There are so many times where things go on sale, whether it's Amazon Black Friday deals, Boxing Day deals. Keep your eyes out for things like that. Things like a Nest thermostat. Sometimes they go on sale for like 25% off. That's a nice upgrade to have in your home. So budget that in and actually spend it, actually do it. If your home is clean, it's been maintained, and you've got some nice upgrades that you've done since you've purchased it, you will sell your home for more money and in less time when it does come time to upgrade your next
Alternatively, don't spend any money on it. Take all your money, invest it in a second property that you rent out.
That's a great segue into episode 160 next week. Next week's topic: first-time investor tips.
Yeah, that's right. Well, first time we talked about buying, and we didn't make it clear as to who was buying. So we're going to clarify, depending on who you are. These are the various things you should do. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's episode 159 of KT Confidential. The real estate podcast. If you haven't already, we really appreciate you listening, and really appreciate also you taking the few seconds it takes to click that subscribe button, and you'll get notifications every time a new podcast is released, which is every Monday morning.
There you go. Have a great week.